Welcome back and we have another guest in the house. We have Mr. Hold on. We have Mr. Josiah Emeka, who is here in the studio to talk to us about Nigeria's blue economy and how to harness it. Good morning and welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so first of all, let's have an insight on what blue economy is before diving into.
Okay, that's interesting. Blue economy, has been diversely defined, but according to World Bank, blue economy is an economy that focuses on the ocean resources for job creation, for economic growth, for livelihood, and at the same time maintaining the health of the ecosystem and maintaining the health of the ocean. And it's actually anchored on SDG 14, which is life on underwater. And it specifically talks about target 14.7 of SDG, which underscores the importance of the ocean resources and also managing them in a sustainable way for a good livelihood and sustainable development.
When you say ocean resources, does it involve fish?
Yes.
All these fish that we eat?
Yes.
And all these Quaker oats, not Quaker oats, this oak fish,
yes,
that we see in the, is it
yes,
part of the blue
species,
economy?
Yes, diverse species of fish, other marine species, like mammals, marine mammals, and so on and so forth. You understand? And also, even marine renewable energy, like offshore wind farms, and so on and so forth. Oil and gas, there are also resources in the ocean.
Okay, I mean, because it's new to Nigeria. It may not necessarily be new outside, but the term blue economy tend to be pretty new, and most people really don't know what it is. When they say blue economy, is it that there's a white economy, or there's a purple economy, or there's a black economy? Well, why is it specifically called blue economy? Okay. What's so blue about it? Is there something more about what you've just said? The ocean, the resources around the ocean, and the natural habitats, and the economy around it. Like, is there something more to it than just what you have said?
The blue terminology there actually has to do with the color of the water.
Oh.
Water is generally blue.
Okay.
You understand? Water is generally blue. You understand? So now, because of that, they now look at it that every resource in the water is actually, it has economic value, has economic benefit. You understand? They have both intrinsic value, that their innate value, the value that makes them what they are naturally, as well as instrumental value, which is the values they bequeath to mankind. The values mankind that benefit from, like food, like energy, and other economic development, like oil and gas activities, and so on and so forth. So these are all benefits, that the oceans offer to mankind. You understand? So that's actually the essence of that blue. There's no white economy, there's no other, it's either green or blue economy. So green economy is actually about sustainability, about eco-friendly practices. You understand? That help to protect the environment, that help to sustain livelihood, that help to enhance, the value of ecosystems for sustainability. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
So whenever I hear of blue economy, I should just think of resources in the waterways.
Yes. The oceans, the seas, the fresh waters, and so on and so forth.
Interesting.
So it's just about water. The resources in the water.
You had mentioned the resources in the waters, oil and gas being part of the resources in the water as well.
Yes.
Now, how can Nigeria balance the expansion of its resources in oil and gas industry, as well as maintaining a sustainable practice for the blue economy?
Okay, very interesting question. What the government has to do is actually to strengthen its regulatory instruments, enforcement instruments, to ensure that oil industry operators put into consideration, most importantly, the interest of the ecosystem where they carry out their activities, especially in the deep waters. Nigeria is going into the deep water oil and gas exploration, and that is a very critical area, because of the vulnerability of that area, and also lack of scientific evidence, on the nature of the life in that area, because we call it dark part of the ocean, or darkest part of the ocean. Why do we say that? It's because it's an area that light penetration is very low because of the depth. You understand? So deep water is the depth that covers from 1,000 feet below the sea level and above. So Nigeria has to strengthen its enforcement and regulatory instruments to ensure that oil and gas industry operators, put into consideration whenever they want to explore, whenever they are carrying out seismic surveys, especially in the deep sea, whenever they are carrying out the reconnaissance assessments, to be able to determine what the kind of oil deposits that they have in that particular area, the geological formations, and so on and so forth. So they need to also consider the ecosystem in that area, because they provide what we call ecosystem services. You understand, to mankind, like food, like energy, like health, recreation, and so on and so forth, tourism values, and so on and so forth. So if the government does not take this serious, then it means over time we may lose these benefits. And when we lose these benefits, it also affects the livelihood of mankind. It also affects the health of the ocean. It also affects sustainability. So we must, take this as a serious matter in the front line of our actions and programs towards environmental protection, especially in the water, as well as sustainability.
Interesting.
Mm. So, do you think we have actually done well as a country in harnessing, what you term blue economy? Because, even though we would say it's new, it looks like there are tremendous opportunities from that blue economy.
Yes.
How is the government of the day tapping into it? Are we really even doing much to tap into that space? Do we even have the resources to tap into that space? Because you need expertise to get into that space. So where are we in this scheme of things?
Okay, very good one. Like you said before, it's like a new concept, in our society, in our environment. And one of the things that government has done so far is actually this current administration to create a new Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, which is headed by His Excellency Adeboyega, one of the former governors, Oyetola. And Nigeria also has created an expanded committee on blue economy. You understand? We've not really done so much. That concept and the initiatives towards enhancing or harnessing the opportunities is actually beginning to gain traction recently. So we've not really done much. And we're also challenged, because of infrastructural deficit, technological deficit, capacity deficit, financial deficit, and a couple of other things. Research deficit as well, you understand, because it's an emerging area, especially in the developing world. Actually, when the United Nations thought about it, their focus was to use blue economy to enhance, the economic opportunities and to enlarge economic gains of small island development states and low income developing states. For instance, small island developing states are islands like Tonga Island, Solomon Island, Cook Island, Barbuda, and so on and so forth. Then for low economy developing countries such as Mauritania, Chad, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and so on and so forth. So that was the initial focus. But over time, other nations, especially in Africa and particularly in Nigeria, began to see the need to harness this opportunity. One of the major reasons is because the land-based economy is already depleting because of growing population. You understand? And many are moving towards the coast. In fact, globally, we have over 600 million that live around the coast. And so if we have such a population, just a massive population, then it means that, their livelihood and their economic opportunities actually have to come from the water, have to come from the seas and oceans, where where they live around the coast. So because of that, it makes blue economy, the future of African Renaissance, the future of Nigerian economic renaissance, because many people, the population is actually moving towards the coast. The land resources are no longer able to sustain the population, and so people now have to resort to the economy in the sea and in the oceans for survival.
Okay, so in what ways can you say Nigeria can engage with international partners in order to expand the blue economy and access new markets as well?
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, one of the things Nigeria has to do is you talked about seeking this partnership and collaboration with multilateral bodies, development partners, to be able to build capacity, because the capacity is very low for now. So build capacity, enhance training, knowledge sharing, technology transfers, and all other things that are connected therewith, to ensure that because Nigeria is a very big population. We have the largest population in Africa, and as a result of that, if blue economy is properly developed in Nigeria, I believe it will address the issue of poverty. You understand? It will also be an opportunity for economic diversification. It will also create more jobs. It will also enhance our economy. Enlarge our, make our economy accessible, to many other nations that can come and tap into what we have naturally, and that will also help to, drive growth, drive sustainability in Nigeria, and also increase our GDP.
All right. Are there challenges you think that is hindering the growth of blue economy in Nigeria?
Yes, there are challenges. Like I mentioned before, one of the challenges is infrastructural, deficit, inadequacy of infrastructure.
But what kind of infrastructures are needed to harness blue economy?
Yes. Well, some of the infrastructure needed are actually like technology, equipment. We don't have some of these things, and we don't even, have the capacity, you understand, to utilize them, because, they are not actually things that are generic here. They are not things that are within us. We need to source some of these things from outside the country, and also enable our people to now learn from how to use them and how to also deploy them to be able to get the necessary benefits from the ocean. You understand? Then capacity inadequacy in terms of human and institutional. Some of the institutions that are involved, in driving this process do not have qualified personnel, do not have personnel that have the requisite knowledge and skill, to be able to harness the opportunities maximally. Then another thing is funding, which is very key. We need funding for research, we need funding for training, we need funding, to develop the framework that will enable us to maximize this particular economy. So we need to address all these things to be able to make a headway or break even in this economy, emerging economy.
So what for you is the thinking, the overview? Say, you have mentioned that, well, this can help with poverty alleviation and the likes, but what is the amount? Do you have a specific amount, or maybe an estimate of what blue economy would worth, say, in another 5 years, if, for instance, the government decides, you know what, let's, put in some investments on this because it will help to go a long way in, expanding the economy and even making some monies from there. So what amount is it? What's the projection for Nigeria when it comes to blue economy in terms of Naira and Kobo?
have a specific figure now, but I know that at least blue economy can contribute about 35% at least.
35?
At least 35% to Nigeria GDP.
Wow.
You understand? So, but if sustained over the years, you understand, in 20 years, 30 years, it can actually, meet up to 45 to 50% of Nigeria's GDP. You understand? So, estimating it in Naira and Kobo actually may not be that easy now, because we've not even assessed, we've not valued the resources we have in the sea. You understand? We've not been able to quantify them. You understand? So that will enable us, if we're able to quantify a particular area, where, for instance, we have a particular species of fishes, you can now use that area to extrapolate, that if we have this in this particular area, then the entire sea area, for instance, the entire exclusive economic zone of Nigeria, we can have, okay, this, if this is the value, we can now have this as a total in that area. I'm using, let me use fish as an example.
Yeah.
For instance, assuming in maybe 100 square meters of the exclusive economic zone of Nigeria, that we have maybe 1 million species of fishes, a particular species of fish, and the value per unit area maybe is, say, 1 million naira, and the entire area of Nigeria EEZ is about 41,000 square meters. So you multiply it with this figure, you can now get, as an estimate.
It's a lot of money.
Yes, it's a lot of money.
Right.
Yes.
There's a maritime conference coming up in Enugu. What is that conference about, and why is it important?
Okay, yeah, it's actually, anchors on what we are discussing now. It hinges on it directly. The conference is themed Navigating the Future, Anchoring Sustainability while bridging the gap between economic growth and marine preservation. So remember that blue economy talks about, managing economic activities and as well as sustaining, marine protection and preservation. You understand? So that's what we're focusing on in this conference. And this conference will start tomorrow. It's for 2 days, tomorrow and Thursday, and it's an international conference. People can connect from any part of the world. We already have, an array of participants, who have submitted their papers, willing to participate, both from international, both at regional level, both at local level, and they're willing to be part of this great program. And we're going to discuss issues around this nexus of ocean economy as well as protection of the ocean environment.
Who are expected?
We have participants from the government, participants from the academia, participants from the NGOs, scholars abroad, researchers, educators, name them. Yes, it's a multidisciplinary event, multidisciplinary conference. So we're expecting people to discuss from different angles, their research, their innovations, and so on and so forth. Knowledge sharing, networking opportunities, opportunity to learn from one another, opportunity to grow knowledge, opportunity to, inform the world that this is where we are going.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the angle of climate change, how can Nigeria's blue economy initiatives contribute to climate change, and equally, particularly in vulnerable areas where, like the coastal regions where it is usually affected, what role does the ecosystem restoration play in this aspect of climate change regards to the blue economy?
Interesting. There's one of the aspects that Nigeria has not actually explored fully, and it's been explored in some parts of the world. We call it blue or oceanic carbon. And there is a particular ecosystem known as seagrass, that's of different species, Posidonia, Rupia, and so on and so forth. These are all species of seagrass. And this research has shown that this ecosystem has the capacity to return about 0.001% of carbon from the atmosphere, both from the ocean and also the one that enters the ocean from the atmosphere. So now, if we enhance the conservation of this particular ecosystem, then we are likely going to maximize carbon reduction. You understand? Carbon reduction strategies, which will also affect climate change mitigation, which also impact positively on climate change mitigation and its impact, both in the ocean and also in the environment. So it's very key. Even the sediments also at the seabed also has the capacity to retain carbon over a millennia, for more than 1 million, if undisturbed. If it remains in its pristine stage, it can store carbon over 1 million years. And so these areas have not been fully harnessed, but in some other parts of the world, they have been harnessed. You understand? And like in Brazil and some other places, I did a research in Brazil, about carbon storage in seagrass beds of some seagrass ecosystem, northern part of Brazil, and also in southwest coast. So that aspect needs to be harnessed, needs to be galvanized to be able to see how we can, from that area mitigate climate change as a nation.
All right. Do you have a way of broadcasting to the world? Because you said you're going to be doing that on your conference tomorrow and next tomorrow. Do you have a way of broadcasting to the world, and how can people plug into it if they want to watch real time?
Okay. Yeah, it's an online, it's a virtual conference.
Okay.
You understand? So people can connect from different parts of the world. We broadcast the Zoom link, okay. And participants can key in. It's actually exclusive for participants. You understand? So we have already done that. We have already also posted that and hosted it even on the platform that people can connect from.
Okay.
So it's a live streaming program.
Okay.
Yes, starting tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we are invited to that program.
Yes, you are. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Signature TV is fully invited because it's a very credible partner. Very supportive and very strong in his service.
All right.
Yes. So we look forward to having you there. And
that's if we were invited officially.
No, I'm already invited. I have the mandate of the director to invite you already. So I'm already extending the invitation to you. So except if you want me to put it in writing, then we can transmit it online to you. And you will get the invitation online.
It's fine.
Because I know that you guys are digital guys, so we don't need to see paper.
Absolutely. You're right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah.
Josiah Ogbuka. He is a lecturer 1 at the Institute of Maritime Studies, University of Nigeria, UNEC campus. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Truly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the opportunity.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.